Okay, so good morning. So this is your final lesson, and this is review for your very last test, which will happen on Monday. We'll do a review session in the morning, and then you can take your test in the afternoon, and hopefully you'll be all done. Nice thing about this test is it's only 7 questions. That's it, and it's all stuff you've already seen. You've either seen it this year or some other year, but mostly this year, I guess. And yeah, so let's just get started. So the first problem involves order of operations, and we have this expression here, 3x squared y minus x plus 3z, that's a z right there, and we want to know what is the value of it, evaluate, what is the value of it when the numbers are, values are x equals negative 3, y equals 4, z equals negative 2. Well, all we need to do is just plug these numbers into there and figure it out. So we're going to do that. So we got 3, and then the x is negative 3, so I always put the numbers in parentheses, so it just keeps everything nice and clean. So y is 4, so I'm going to put parentheses 4 right there, minus x, x is still negative 3, and I'm just plugging in the stuff here, and then plus 3 times z, z is negative 2. Alright, so we're doing order of operations here. So we remember PEMDAS, right? So that means we do inside parentheses first. Well, inside each of these parentheses is just a single number, so there's nothing actually to do inside the parentheses. So we move on to the next thing, which is exponents. So we see that there is one exponent, it's right here, so we do it right now. So negative 3 squared means negative 3 times negative 3, or positive 9. The temptation here is to multiply these two guys here and then square that. That ain't right. Right, so square this first. So negative 3 squared is 9, positive 9. So now we got 3 times 9 times 4, right, that's what this is, 3 times 9 times 4. Now this says minus negative 3, I'm going to make that plus 3. And then we got 3 times negative 2, plus 3 times negative 2. Alright, so now we're down to, we've done the exponents, now we're down to multiplying and dividing. There's no dividing, so we just multiply left to right. So 3 times 9 times 4. Well, 27 times 4 is 108. Again, if you needed a calculator for that, you certainly could have that. Plus 3, nothing's changed there. Multiply these two guys together. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6, so we could write plus a negative 6, or we could just write minus 6. That's better. And then we got adding. Now we're down to addition, right? Because we've already done all our multiplying. Order of operations says the next thing to do after multiplying and dividing is adding and subtracting. Left to right. Remember, left to right. So 108 plus 3 is 111, minus 6 is 105, and we are done with our first problem, order of operations. Okay, next problem involves writing the equation of a line. So, long paragraph here, but really it's not a whole lot of information, just, some stuff. So it says here, after 2 weeks of saving, Bob had $200 in his account. Right, so he has a savings account, and 2 weeks, he's got $200 in there. After 6 weeks, he had $440. Cool. So we want you, or I want you to write a linear model to represent Bob's savings. Remember, linear model means y equals mx plus b, right? The equation of a line. Represent Bob's savings. How much will he have after 20 weeks? And what do the slope and the y-intercept mean in this problem? Okay, so in order to write the equation of a line, we need some information, and the information is right here. We're going to get some ordered pairs. So after 2 weeks, Bob's got $200. So here's our first ordered pair, 2, 200. And after 6 weeks, he's got 440. 6 weeks, 440. All right, so now we got 2 ordered pairs, 2 points. In order to write the equation of a line, remember we have this formula, y equals mx plus b. And we remember that this m represents the slope, and we know that we can get slope out of these two guys right here. So we're going to find the slope using those 2 points. So slope, remember, is y2 minus y1, right? Subtract the y's on the top, subtract the x's on the bottom. So we're going to do 440. Right, this is old stuff for you all. You've seen this many, many times. Right, subtracting the y's on the top, subtract the x's on the bottom. And 440 minus 200 is 240. Over 4 makes 60. Okay, so we now know that m is 60, and now we just need to find out what b is. So now we have y equals 60x plus b. So now we need to pick one of these 2 points to help us to find b. I always go with one with a smaller number, so let's do that. So y is 200, so that goes right here in the beginning. 200 equals 60 times 2 plus b. Right, 60, yeah, good. And then 60 times 2 is 120, so 200 equals 120 plus b. Subtract 120, so b is 80. So now the final equation for Bob's savings account amount is y equals 60x plus 80. Or we could write A for amount equals 60W for weeks plus 80. Oops, not 80. All right, so there's the equation. And then we want to use this equation to figure out how much money will Bob have in 20 weeks. That just means we're going to plug 20 right there where the weeks are. So we're going to write this on the other side. So I'm going to use the formula I had at the end there. 60W plus 80. So we want to know how much does he have? What's his amount after 20 weeks? Well, easy enough. 60 times 20 plus 80. So 60 times 20, that's 1200, plus 80 is 1280. So that's how much Bob has in his account after 20 weeks. Okay, so now I want to actually talk about the formula right here. So we have A equals 60W plus 80. So we know the slope is 60, and in this case, slope, as it always is, slope equals rate. And in this case, this is Bob's savings rate. Bob is saving $60 a week. Bob saves $60 per week. Right? And you can always recognize a rate because there's a per in there. Like when you're driving 55 miles per hour. You know, when you're keeping sports stats, you can get like, I don't know, 2.3 sacks per game, or 5 blocks per game. That'd be crazy, 5 blocks per game. So anyway, so it's always a per sort of thing. All right, and then the y-intercept right here, the y-intercept is how much we started with. So in this case, Bob started with $80 in his account. So the y-int equals the start amount. And in this case, Bob started with $80 in his account. Okay. Simple, straightforward stuff. You've done it many times. All right. Solve and graph. So we got to solve this guy right here. Looks complicated, but we remember how to do this sort of thing. We're just going to do the distributed property on this and this. Collect alike terms, solve, graph. Simple. All right, so we just multiply this stuff. So 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times 1, she is 4. 2 times 2x is 4x. 2 times 3, she is 6. Plus or equal to, right? Same thing there. 15x plus 8. You're going to love how simple this comes out. Okay, so let's put the like terms together, right? 12x and 4x makes 16x. More like terms, right? Just the numbers here. 4 plus 6 is 10. Yeah, fine. 16x plus 10, less than or equal to 15x plus 8. And then we're going to subtract over 15x to get 1x, subtract over 10 to get negative 2. So then we have x is less than or equal to negative 2. And then we just have to graph that. Pretty simple, straightforward. It's going to be on a number line, right? There are no y's in here, so it's only x's, so we only have an x-axis. So we got 0, and we got negative 2, because that's the only important number here, really, right? And we should also know where we are on the graph, so we plot 0. And then we have x is less than or equal to negative 2, so less than or equal to means fill it in, and all the numbers that are less than negative 2 are to the left. Okay, that's it. There's your answer right there. Solve and graph. Okay, so here we have another word problem. And this is going to involve systems of equations, and again, something that we've done this year. So it says 40 pounds of peanuts and 2 pounds of almonds cost, whoa, pretty sure I meant to do 20 pounds. God, I really hope so. Or else this problem's going to be a mess. All right, so 40 pounds of peanuts and 20 pounds of almonds cost $200. 20 pounds of peanuts and 15 pounds of almonds cost $125. How much is a pound of peanuts and how much is a pound of almonds? All right, so we should write our equation here. So 40 pounds of peanuts, 40p, plus 20 pounds of almonds, 20a, 200 big ones. Same thing down here, 20 peanuts, or 20 pounds of peanuts, right? Plus 15 pounds of the almonds makes $125. All right, so in order to solve for this, we need to eliminate one of these variables, right? Because we can't solve two variables at the same time. We only have pea brains, right? We need more, we need simpler problems than this. So we need to eliminate one of the variables. So if we can find a way to somehow make a 20 into a 40, or a 15 into a 20, or at least make them the same somehow, then we'd be golden. So as we hopefully remember, if we just multiply the bottom equation by 2, that'll make that a 40 and that a 40, and we'll be able to do some nice subtracting and things will disappear. So we're going to multiply the bottom equation by 2. I'm going to multiply that by 2. I'm going to, nah, I'm not. I was going to try to squeeze it in over here. I didn't leave myself enough room. Okay, so we're just going to write the top equation again, as is 40p, make a line here just to separate stuff, 40p plus 20a equals 200. Multiply this guy by 2. So that gets us 40p plus 30a equals, I'm going to multiply the 2 over here too, 250. And now we see that the 40p's have the same sign, and we remember when we have the same sign we subtract to make the p's go away. So 40p minus 40p, no p. And then 20a minus 30a is negative 10a. And 200 minus 250 is negative 50. Oops. Divide by negative 10, so almonds cost $50 per pound. And then we plug the 50 back into either of these two equations, right? The top one here or the second one, doesn't really matter. I'm going to plug it in the top one. So 50 into here. So now we're going to have 40p plus, remember 50 is going right here, 50's a is 50, 50 right here. 20 times 50 is 5, I meant to say, 5, not 50, 5, right? 50 divided by 10 is 5, so 5 goes right in here. So 20 times 5, of course, is 100, equals 200, right? Subtract 100 over, so 40p equals 100. Divide both sides by 40, and as it turns out, p equals 250, 250. And it's totally okay to not have a whole number here, right? $2.50 is a perfectly nice number to work with. Okay, need to keep moving here. All right, so where are we at? Okay, so I was going to finish number 4 up there, but I had enough room on the other page, so we don't need to worry about that. Okay, so almost done. So here's number 5. So we want to graph this guy here and this guy here on the same axes, and we want to find out where they meet, and because they're inequalities, we're going to have to do some shading also. And remember, the solution is where the shading overlaps. So this is already in a nice format right here, right? This is already in y equals mx plus b format, easy to graph. Let's turn this guy into the same thing. So in other words, we want to solve for y. So let's do that right over here. So 4y plus x is less than 16. And we want to get y by itself, so we're going to subtract the x over. So we get 4y is less than negative x plus 16. Divide everybody by 4, and we get y is less than, right? So we got 1/4 here, right? X over 4, so negative 1/4, right? We divided that by 4. X dividing by 4, 1/4. And then 4 into 16 is 4. So there we go. So this guy is in a nice format also, as is this one. So now we're just going to graph them both. So this says, yeah, so y is less than 1/2 x plus 1, so we're just going to go right over here. Two, 3, Notice how careful I'm being here about, trying to make some consistency here in the spacing. So we're going to start with this one, 1/2 x plus 1. So we're going to start on 1, right? We all know that. Start on the y-intercept. Then we go up 1 over 2. Put a dot. Up 1 over 2. Put another dot. And that should be enough. Because this is a less than, we make a dotted line. Right, again, this is all stuff you guys know. And because it says less than, we shade down. Less means down. Pretty simple. All right, then we do the same trick up here. -1/4 plus 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start right there on 4. From there, we're going to go down 1 over 4. Down 1 over 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, look. There's where we intersect right there. This is also just a less than, so we also do just a dotted line for that one. And this is also a less than, so we shade down, but we're only looking for the overlapped area, so we're only going to shade down here because this is where the shading already was, and so we want to shade so that we can show that we know where the answer is. The answer is where everybody's overlapped, right? The overlapping is right there. That's where the solution is. And I also asked you to find this point of intersection, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 3. And there it is. You are done with that problem. Okay, almost there. So we want to simplify this stuff with some exponents, and for some of you this is a good little review, because some of you struggled a little bit on the test with the exponent thing. So order of operations again tells us to do the exponent thing up here, so let's do that one, because that parentheses is raised to the third power. So we're going to have 4x to the fifth, y to the sixth, times, so 2 to the third power does not mean 2 times 3, right? It means 2 times 2 times 2. And 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 more makes 8. And remember, when you have a power to a power, you multiply the exponents. So that's x to the sixth. And 3 times 3 is 9. Power to power. And then you got 10x cubed, y to the 20th. All right. So when you multiply stuff, you add the exponents, but you also multiply these coefficients here, right? So 8 times 4 is 32. X to the fifth here, x to the sixth here. We add the exponents when we multiply, so that's x to the 11th. Y to the sixth times y to the 9th. Add the exponents, y to the 15th. And then we got 10 x cubed, y to the 20th. And then this is just a fraction, so we just reduce this guy here. So we're going to take 2's out of the top and bottom, 16 over 5. And we learned when we divide, we're going to subtract the exponents. So 11 minus 3 is 8. And then we're going to put the answer where there are more. There are more on the top, so we have x to the 8th on the top. Same thing here. We're going to subtract the exponents. 20 minus 15 is 5. Where are there more? There's more on the bottom. y to the 5th on the bottom. Done. Okay, last problem, number 7, in 3 parts. Just a simple percent problem right here. So, got my calculator handy and all ready to go. All right, so it says Bob makes $2,400 a month. He spends $75 on his phone. What percent of his income is spent on his phone? So, simple concept here, percent over 100 equals part over total. So, percent, we don't know. We do know 100. Part is 75. That's how much he spends on the phone. Total, that's how much he makes. So, easy stuff here. So, we just cross multiply. So, 2,400. I'm going to call that x. And 75 times 100, of course, is 7,500. So 7,500 divided by 2,400. 7,500 divided by 2,400 equals 3.125. So Bob spends, I'm going to put that right down here, 3.125% on his phone. That's it. Very simple. Percent over 100 equals part over total. Okay. So 30% surveyed said they would vote for Bob. 900 said they would vote for Bob. How many were surveyed? So again, same formula up here. So percent over 100, percent is 30, over 100. 30% of the people said they would vote for Bob. 900 said they would vote for Bob. Is that everyone? Nope, that's just the part that said they would vote for Bob. So, part goes on top. Total surveyed goes on bottom. So, cross multiply, and we have 30x equals 9 and 4 zeros. Right, that's the trick, right? That times that is 9, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. And then we just divide by 30, so we're going to have x equals 3,000. Right, so we divide 9 by 3 and get 3, and then we just drop off one of those zeros. So 3,000 people were surveyed. Okay, last problem, and then we're all done. Long video, sorry. In a recent survey of 500 people, total 500 people, 42% said they liked the game. They liked the game Cards Against Humanity. How many liked the game? It's the same show, right? So 42% over 100 equals survey of 500 people, right? 500 people. How many liked the game? I don't know. Let's cross multiply and find out. So we get 100x equals 500 times 42. 500 times 42 equals 21,000. Right, 21,000. Yep. And then we just divide by 100. So we drop off two of those zeros there. So x equals 210. 210 people were surveyed. 210 people said they liked the game Cards Against Humanity. Okay, there it is. There's your review, and I'll post that as soon as I can. I'll set up a time on Monday for you to all meet and go over this stuff, so you're all set for your final test on Monday afternoon. Thanks. Be safe. See you guys later.